Hi, everybody.
We're
We're
back.
back.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes. This feels so good. And I thank you so much, all you all out there who hung in with us that whole time that we was everywhere, sick, up, down. You know, I tell you, it's been a journey. And I was telling somebody today. I forgot who somebody was telling me, sent me a note. And I was telling them that we've been on a really journey. It's feel like we've been to hell and back, but we are so blessed.
Yes.
And like most of the things that we have gone through, we would never wish that on our worst enemy, but it has made us a better couple, helped our love and our relationship. But I don't want to go through that again. I
No,
really don't. I really
no.
don't. The tonight I was trying to remember. It's been so long since May 4th was our last
Hold on for a
Facebook.
second.
What's the matter? Oh, we
Lord
got to
God,
pray.
we just
Ooh.
want to come to give you thanks and praise, Father God, for allowing us to be where we are, to help us in the way you brought us through some trials and tribulations that you said we shall have in this life. Okay, but you brought us through, and we are so grateful, dear God. Thank you for all of the prayers that were sent up for us, and Lord, and for your blessings, for your mercy, God. We are so grateful. Thank you. In the name of Jesus, we're praying. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sweetie. Lord, yes. Okay. Can I move this back some more?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, yes, I can. Okay. All right. We're trying to get situated. Oh, there we go. Okay. Now, I forgot what I was going to say. Old people
God,
stuff again. I know. Hey,
I'm sorry I interrupted you.
no, don't be sorry.
Jeez.
You was the Lord. I should have remembered, and that's okay. Be okay. All right. Oh, I know what it was. The last I was looking at the video we made on May 4th. That was our last Facebook Live, and I looked at it, and you were so sick already, and we didn't know it. I'm thinking that the pain you were suffering was from your knees, and was it only your knees that were hurting? Do you remember? You don't remember that, do you?
Yeah, because it was 2 days after we did the surgery.
The
Yeah.
surgery. So it was your
Yeah, it
knees,
wasn't these. Yeah.
right? But he was already getting sick
Yeah.
with the blockage too, because nothing was going through. So
Hmm.
he's already quite ill, and we just didn't know it yet. One of the things we did learn, and I probably when it pops up here, I've learned I got to come and say it right then, because if I don't, I'll forget it. Is that when you are your spouse's caregiver, when you are care partners, and use partners is very not loosely, but is very important, because you can only, if you are your spouse's caregiver, your spouse has to participate if possible. Now, there are going to be times when your spouse is unable to participate. If your spouse has Alzheimer's or dementia, or is unable to speak because of a stroke or something else, that's something different. I'm talking about if you are caring for someone who is verbal, who is his cognitive ability has not been impaired, then it's important for the person you're caring for to give you the proper feedback to help you be a better caregiver. That is something, yeah, you know.
Listen, when I was hospitalized, there was sometimes I didn't realize it. Okay, but I was holding Sharon at fault for some of the things that are happening to me, and I shouldn't have, but I could not understand. Well, let me tell you the situation. I felt like I was tied down in the bed that I was in. They didn't want me to get up, but I couldn't understand why I could not. I wanted to get up. I didn't want to urinate in the bed. I wanted to get up and go to the bathroom. Well, unbeknownst to me, they put these things on my calves of my legs that was helping me to not have blood clots. And I'm thinking, they got me tied to the bed. And I asked Sharon one time, why are you letting them do this to me? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
why are you doing the why don't you say something? I can't move my legs. What? Well, these things were there. And they were. I blamed her for it.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And his attitude often changed because of that. And at some point I realized that he did not fully understand
No,
what was happening to
I
him.
didn't. No.
And because he did not, it was almost like he was, if you can imagine having your child and then, in the hospital, all the stuff is going on around him. You love your child so much and you're trying to comfort them, and they're screaming and kicking and they're looking at you trying to figure out, you're supposed to be protecting me, and these people are sticking needles in me and trying to stitch me up or whatever, and you're not helping me, mommy or daddy. And he was it only thing he didn't say mommy or daddy, but he was looking at me, and at some point I realized that he didn't understand what was happening, and I couldn't explain to him because he didn't understand that. He's still trying to figure out why he was there, where he was, and so that was very, very difficult for him.
Yeah.
And
And about 3 weeks of that, I don't remember at all. I don't remember.
he was looking through my old Facebook posts today, and he
Yeah.
didn't remember a lot of that,
Yeah.
which is which on one hand is very good, but on the other hand, what's happened is it's made it has made it so that I am more of you got to do this. Why don't you do this? Come on now, you got to do this because I know what happened to him, and I don't want that to happen again. But he's trying to figure what the heck is wrong. They're almost the same look as he had in the hospital. Why are what's wrong with you? And he says, for example, he'll say, "Well, I don't want that." I'll say to him, "I say I don't want to go through that again." He'll say, "Well, I don't either." His "I don't either" is not the same as I don't want to go through this again. So he's coming from a whole different place. I'm coming from, I don't want to see the tubes and everything that had a hole in the opening. I don't want to see your hand so swollen that the skin on it was starting to break down. I don't want to see your heart stopping. I don't want to see your breathing stopping. I don't want to hear you screaming when they had to intubate you. All these things I don't want to go through again.
Really?
Oh my God, hemp, yes. And so
Wow.
yeah, I didn't even share that with the folks on there. I have a recording that I don't even want to hear it again, but at some point in the future I'll let you hear it, that I made a recording of them trying to intubate you. It was awful. It was awful. And so that's where I'm coming from when I
Wow.
say I don't want to go through this again.
Hmm.
He's not coming from that because he doesn't remember any of that. Thank God.
No.
I'm thankful that he does not remember that. So all that stuff that he doesn't, as much as I shared with you all, there's as much that I didn't. I shared what I could because sometimes just recounting it was horrendous. We were sitting in the which doctor was there? Oh, we were at the hematologist's office. I think that's where we were. We've been to so many doctors in the last 2 months and a half, and we were sitting there, and the nurse was doing something, the triage nurse, when they come in and you take your pressure, your weight and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, this alarm on one of the machines she was using went off. And I felt like someone had taken, those paddles when they say, clear, their heart thing. I could feel this jolt. Just felt like a lightning bolt went through my chest when I heard that alarm, because that's the same alarm that I would lay in bed and watch Hamp's machines, and when one of those things went off, I would be looking for the nurse to come, and if she wasn't there in 3 seconds, I was up and out and getting them. And so I do. And my son asked me how was I doing. I forgot whether he asked me if I was okay or whatever. But I was telling him I had PTSD, and I did not realize that I had PTSD to that extent until I heard that machine go off. But as I look back, I'm coming at Hamp at a place from within that PTSD, just like I had been to war. I was at war, okay, fighting for him. And so I'm coming back with PTSD. And sometimes the spouse that we're doing the caregiving for, doesn't understand how their illness also affects the caregiver. So yes, I'm taking care of him. He's going through all this. They're not putting the tubes down my throat and down my nose and in my room and all that. They're not doing that to me. But I'm watching it. I'm experiencing.
Experiencing.
I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Yes. And then now I was very fortunate to be able to stay with him 24/7. If you have a job and you have little kids, you can't do that. And you may be away from the bulk of your family, or your family is not near you, or they just can't because they may have their own health challenges, and they can't do that. So what do you do when you are have your spouse in a place and you still have to be their caregiver? What do you do? Tell me, what do you do?
You try to get somebody to stay with the kids so you can be with your mate.
For 2 months? Yeah.
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 If you can. Okay. Hopefully you got a job that will say, okay, or you in the lead bank, okay, so you can be with your loved one, okay, to help them get through that. Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Well,
I don't
God,
have an answer.
I think God put it at the right time.
Yeah, for us.
Okay.
For us. But I'm thinking about, I have other friends and relatives who are caregivers for their spouses, and their spouses go to the hospital, but they have responsibilities. They have a job that they have to go to, that whose leave is not as liberal as they would need for that. They may have what you call spousal leave and stuff like that, but sometimes it only gives them part of their pay, or it may only be for a couple weeks at the most, so it doesn't even take into account that they have recovery at home. And so, but that is something that you don't want to wait until it happens to find out. You need to look ahead. Yes, we old and we expect our bodies to break down and stuff like this. But if you are, in your 20s and 30s and 40s and you're not expecting your body to say, I don't do this no more. And you're not expecting that. That's when you have to prepare for it. That's when you get the long-term care insurance. That's when you line up your caregivers and find out who is going to be there for you. If you got children, don't just automatically turn to your kids. Yes, they want to help, but they can't always. My children wanted to be with us. Our son had a whole boatload of kids, and he couldn't be there for us, and he felt really bad about that, but we understood. And our daughter was able to come every now and then, but she had a job. She couldn't be there with us like she wanted to, and she has a husband. Her allegiance is to her spouse, not to mine. Okay, so we had to do that. So yes, we may have, if you have one child or you got 10 children, it's not a done deal, or you can't automatically assume that your children are going to step up and care for you. They may not be able to.
I am blessed with a community of guys that will, at the drop of a hat, come and see about me, okay, to help me. Okay, Jim Dorsey and John Collins, those guys were there all the time. I saw a picture today where John Collins they shaved my beard off so that some mask that I had to wear would fit properly, and they didn't shave it.
No, that's not where they shaved it. They shaved it to put the external pacemaker in your neck.
Oh, is that what it was for?
Yes.
Okay, so they did it for that. Well, that means I had a beard on one side of my face, but I didn't have it on the other side. And John Collins came in and saw that. He said,
it was a hot mess.
He said, "Oh no, I gotta hook my brother up. He can't look like that." And he shaved me, shaved my head, and shaved my beard all the way off. Okay, It was something. Jim Dorsey, that guy bought us. Once he found out that we could eat anything that we wanted. He had his own food service truck, okay, and he was delivering crab. He was delivering these fancy meals for us, okay, crab cakes and.
But we knew how important it was that at some point that you started to eat, and so he was bringing stuff, and we wanted to keep that the gut open and stuff like that. So he was bringing you food like that.
The doctor said, "Look, we think it's clear. We want you to eat and eat everything they bring you, okay." And Jim just made sure he had stuff that we liked. Okay?
But there were I don't even remember everybody who came, and I was sitting there right there. But there were times when I was having an out of body experience, and could not take in. But you, just because you don't have children or you don't have immediate family who can step up, they may want to, but they just can't. You, if you've been kind and nice, this is where it's gonna come in. If you've been a nasty son of a all your life, all of a sudden you find yourself
Don't
that you
expect
need,
anybody.
don't expect nobody to show up. You be laying there and whatever you doing in the morning, you still be laying in the night because ain't nobody come see you. Because you've been nasty, just nasty.
Yeah, so
and nobody want to be around you.
Us to treat people like how we want to be treated.
Exactly.
Well, like the scriptures say, okay.
Yes.
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yes.
Okay, so.
And people were stepping up, and one of the things I realize is people are the kind of stuff, whatever you need me to do. Well, let me tell you something. When I was in the middle of that, I didn't know what I needed. I didn't know, but some people, they just showed up with food. They showed up with blankets. They showed up with candy and cupcakes and twisters and good and plenty. They just showed up. They showed up with meals. They showed up or just showed up to look at us.
Yeah.
You know, showed up with a hug. And we had people who were not able. I have one person, I'm not gonna call who the name is, but they were not. Everybody can't go in the hospital and visit. They just can't. And this person said, I can't do the hospital, but that person showed up and they had lunch with me.
Yeah.
You know? Well, you actually you paid for the lunch. But anyway, they would
Thanks,
show
Debbie.
up. You weren't supposed to call their name.
I didn't say who.
Anyway, and so I had several people who come up, and I just use debit card to buy lunch for them. I said, "This is for y'all for coming to, you know," and that's what we do. And so that's what we have to do. But just something just removed me, because at some point you start to think that your spouse's existence is tied to you being beside them, that the angel of death can't take them while you're sitting there looking at them. And that's where I was thinking, if I leave here, whoever's with him is not going to be looking, and the angel of death could sneak in here and take him because they're not paying attention. Let me tell you something. That's not what's going to keep him there. That's not, when the time's up. But I had people who would make me, they would call me, what did you have for lunch? You didn't eat for lunch? Come on, we're going to have lunch. And I'm saying to myself, something, leave me alone. I don't want to eat. But I had to eat. I did not lose any weight while I was in. Most of the time, you lose weight when you're sitting there at the bedside. But people would come and drag me down to the cafeteria, drag me out to the food truck, and bring me stuff, bring me all kinds of cake and cookies and everything. So, yes. And anything before
and Pat, thank you, Pat. You recommended us to a rehabilitation facility that was excellent.
Yes,
those ladies and guys took care of me. I could not believe how they did things. I was so moved by them that I had 2 weeks afterwards, I had to go back up there with something for them, just to give a gift to them to show my appreciation.
Now, you heard what Hamp said. Okay, that's all he should know. He should only know the goodness that those people showed him. There was another side that we had to battle in the background. Pat and I had to battle with the rehab center.
You're talking about Pat Newman.
Pat Newman. That we had to battle with the rehab center because we sat there for 2 days and they didn't even come look at him. And it was 2 days. And I can't remember how much it cost. I wrote it down. I said I was going to share it with you, but I can't off the top of my head. I'll find it. And at a point, if I don't tell you today, I'll tell you later. How much it costs per day to be in a rehab center, and how much the insurance would cover. It didn't cover it. Our insurance covered everything because we have three. We have Medicare, Blue Cross Blue Shield Federal, and Blue Cross Blue Shield Care First, and we're both each other, so each of us has three. And because of that, we're what one doesn't pay, the other one almost always picks up anyhow. And bottom line, we didn't have a bill for anything. But I had to battle. I told them, I said, I don't want to pay for the first 2-3 days we've been here because y'all ain't even coming to look at him. I said, he didn't have dinner for the first day. I had to go beg people to come feed him. So Hamp didn't know any of that. He was sitting there being cared for. So there are going to be times when you have to go to war behind the lines, not in front of, because if I had done all that in front of him, he would have been upset. And he didn't need to be upset. and stressed with all that. So I had to do all that in the hall. And I would call Pat, and she would make her phone call to whoever she knew and climb the ladder. Then when we're in the hospital, I had another one. I can't say her name because I don't know who's on here from Howard County General Hospital. I don't want to get her in no trouble. But anyway, her first name is June, but we're not going to call her name any more than that. But anyway, she was a godsend. For the last 18 years, June has walked in step with us to help me help him, because he's been so sick over the last 18 years when he first lost his arm. Actually, before that, when he had the first accident. And all the tips that she gave me how to fight for your loved one. When they hang something or hang a bag at their bedside, take a picture of it on a smartphone. Now, when we started doing this 18 years ago, when no such thing as a smartphone, I ain't had it then. But she would say, write it down, and then go look it up. There was no real internet. I didn't have access to an internet in the hospital back then, so I would have to come home and look it up online to see what it was and make sure they were hanging the right thing. And there were times when I would catch the doctor that we are depending on. They didn't know everything. Those doctors know a little about everything. They don't know a lot about necessarily one thing unless they're a specialist. And so what you do as a care partner, a caregiver, is whatever is wrong with your partner. And many of you know already, if you are in your 20s and 30s and 40s, 50s, whatever, and your partner is fairly functional right now, not really a whole lot wrong with them, but they have diabetes, or they may have something wrong with their what you call it, when you Crohn's disease, or they may have an ulcer, or they may have arthritis, or some kind of malady. Learn all you can about that now, so that if and when it flares, because it will, if and when it flares up as they get older, you will already have a head start on knowing about the kind of treatments, alternative treatments, the kind of specialists you may need to see. Because when those doctors start talking to you, they're going to assume, number one, that you don't know nothing. Mm-hmm. Number two, that you don't know nothing. And number three, that you really don't know nothing, which means that you know less than me. And that's what they're going to assume. So when you start asking questions, it's almost like, like you're asking a question. They don't say that. But, and Lord have mercy, pull out a journal and start writing. Hello. And that's what I did. And that was one of the tips that June told me. She said, she told me to take out, she said, do you have a steno pad? Now, we're talking 18 years ago. Those of you who don't know what a steno pad is, that's the thing with the like the coils on there, and you flip it over, and it's got a line down the middle, and you write on this. That's a steno pad. She asked me if I had a steno pad. They ain't had journals back then, but I had a steno pad. And I had a steno pad. Man, I filled that thing up. And so that's what I did. I filled it up and writing it down. And I was writing there and asking questions. The doctors, not all doctors, if a doctor is really good at what they're doing, they're not going to be upset if you ask questions. They like it when you ask questions. I had one doctor that told me when he, with Hamp, Dr. Chewidian, his pulmonologist, when I pulled out he said, oh, I love it when my patients have someone who takes notes. And he commended me for that. He was secure in himself. But there were some others that started, what are you writing down? And I would say, could you spell that for me, please? Could you slow down a little bit? I'm old. Can you slow down a little bit and make this so I can write this down and not have to use big words? And, and no, they didn't like it, but I didn't care. They didn't like it. But all of a sudden, some of them, the word got around, and there were some doctors who avoided me. And one night, I had Hamp was not. He was. I forgot what was wrong that night. He was. The NG tube, his nasal gastric tube was pumping blood. Well, it was supposed to be pumping red blood, and I meant that either there was his stomach was perforated, or his esophagus was perforated, or and was bleeding, or he was just bleeding inside on his own, and it was sucking that blood up. And so I told the doctor I told the nurse, I said, I want to see the doctor. Now, this is a doctor, it was at nighttime. I had never seen the doctor. He was on duty every night, and we're probably talking 2-3 weeks into Hamp's stay in ICU. And it was about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and I knew he was slow walking me, taking his time. waiting for me to fall asleep. So I told them, and she knew too, but she wasn't gonna say nothing. So I told her, I said, let me tell you something, what you need to tell him. I said, number one, I know who he is, and I know he's here. And number two, you need to tell him that this man's wife is getting on my last nerve, and she's not going nowhere. And that she said to tell you that she's not going to bed until you get here. I said, and you tell him just like that and put it all on me because I didn't want her to get in trouble. Man, 5 more minutes he came. This is after making me sit an hour and a half. And I didn't care. And so when I asked him, I said, I want you to take an x-ray to let me see where the nasal gastric tube is. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I knew that that's how they find out the placement of the nasal gastric tube.
Listen,
it was where it's supposed to be.
They thought she was a doctor.
They did.
They thought, who is this? Who is this woman?
They didn't realize I had two nurses pumping me with information. That's how I knew so much. Yes. And so that's what you do. But you can look this stuff up online, watch videos. When Hamp is going to have a surgery, whatever it is, I look it up on YouTube. Honey, there's some on YouTube. You don't want to see everything. But I wanted to know about it, what it looks like for him to have his adhesions cut when he has a bowel blockage. I want to look. So I look it up.
This incident that I had was from something that happened in 2004. Can you believe that?
Yep.
2004.
19 years ago. In his first surgery. That's right. That's what there's adhesions from that.
Yeah.
Yep. And so when he stopped being mobile because his knees were hurting him so bad, that's what stopped his gut from moving like it should. And once his gut slowed down because of that and because of the pain meds he was taking, then that's when the adhesions just, got tight on him. So, if your loved one is in the hospital and they're bedbound, I was reading that for every day your loved one is bedbound, they lose 2% muscle mass.
Oh.
Hamp was in bed for 46 days.
I could not believe I couldn't
stand
up. It took 3 people to help me stand up. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When the first time I tried to get up out of that bed.
Well, that was when you could finally get to that point. But I've got pictures I'm gonna show you. You see the ones I had you, how they were lifting you up in that sling?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's what they did. So speak up for your loved ones. Don't be afraid. Don't do it in front of your loved one because they'll get upset. It upsets them. Don't worry about grinning and being nice. No. You need to make sure they know that if you don't take care of my loved one, after you, I'm going to the president of whoever it is. It was all I could do to keep one of the nurses from going to the head person up there. Actually, both of them, they were going to go up to the other level. But I said, no. I can handle this, But they were wonderful. And so you just have to have advocates. And we all know nurses and physical therapists. We all know these people. Reach out to them. They'll be glad to help you understand what's going on. I didn't do half the stuff I had in here, but anyway, I did want to show you the tools of a caregiver, that if you have a spouse or that is in need of caregiving, there's some things that you should always have. Number one, you should always have pens and pencils. I always had a blue one and a red one because I needed to make red notes in case I needed to make extra notes about something. Also, I have a journal that I have graduated from the let me not put that on there. I'm getting messed up something. I have graduated from the steno pad to the yellow journal I have here, and notes and stuff. I filled it up right to the last page. It's all done. Right to the last page. It's the last page. It's all done now. And so write down is everything. Just write it down. Yes, I was taking recordings on here, but there were times that I messed up and pushed something and the recording gone, but I got it in here. So that's what you do. And I got this on Amazon. It was real cheap. I don't know how much it was, but I'll put the link up. Since after I used that one up, I bought another one. I should have got a different color, but that's okay. So I have another one. So I'm going to start on that. I haven't started with this one yet. Did I start with this one? No, because I just finished the other one at his last doctor appointment. So I've got that. And then I also have a journal that I would suggest that as a caregiver that you keep a journal. And people want me to write a book. I don't want to write a book. I told my sister the other day. She said Sharon, when you gonna write a book? I said, I don't want to. It's so nice when you're 76 years old. Excuse me, 76.8 years old. You do what you want to do. I said, I don't want to write a book. So I've got another journal that I started, and I do not write in it every day. I probably ought to, but I don't, because I don't have time all the time. But I got one. It's a nice journal, and it's it looks more like a Bible than a journal, but it's really nice. I love this. It's really nice, and it has a place for a pen. I bought a nice pen to go with it and stuff like that. But I got this from Amazon too, and then I got a cover for it so I can put this in with my pens and stuff and my tabs like that. So it's made for a Bible, but I got it for my journal. And then you need to have, if something happens and the ambulance were to show up here right now and Hamp went to the hospital, they would assume, if he's conscious, they would ask him questions about his health care. He doesn't know about his health care. He does. So when he goes to a doctor, I always go with him, unless he's going to podiatrist. Because really,
we go with each other, so
we do.
It's a good thing.
We do. And
go with your loved one, okay,
yes.
When you go to the doctor.
And if he has to go to the hospital, I need to have something I can send with them, because I'm not going to be able to ride in the ambulance, and he's probably going to get there before I do. So I have all of his medical papers in a folder, and I dropped it. Oh Lord, I must have 200 pages of stuff. And I dropped it on the floor. I don't need all those 200 pages. I've already asked my son. I told him I was going to give him a notebook with this. You know, these young kids now, they don't want they don't want no papers. He said, put it on a stick, on a what's name, on a what's name, on a hard drive, on the thumb drive, and or digitize it or whatever. He would scan it for me. I said, oh Lord, okay. So, but anyway, if I'm going to send something with the ambulance people, I'm going to have it right here to go with them. I'm going to put the papers, his list of his medications, his past illnesses, his allergies. Copies of his front and back of his license, front and back of all his medical cards. All that needs to go in. This is only it's only 5 of these, 5 pages of this, and I got this at I think it's Shoppers. It was only $6. You can get it online too, but it's twice as much online. I don't want to spend all that money, so I got one for him and one for me, and then he's also goes to VA, so I got one for all his VA stuff. And then last but not least, I would be remiss in not telling you about this book that our friend Debbie wrote. Can I say her last name?
Debbie Carr.
Okay. I didn't want to put her out there, but Debbie Carr wrote this book, and it's a compilation of things that were happening while Hamp was in the hospital. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
she took
she took it from my Facebook post.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she did.
And put it in the book.
And it's beautiful.
It is.
It's beautiful. And so
I learned a lot about me in this book, because, like Sharon said, a lot of the things that happened to me I did not recall. Mm-hmm. Even to the point where people who came to visit me, I
had to look too, because I didn't realize. I didn't remember some people too. I didn't remember everybody. But again, that's where we are right now. And we'll give you more on spousal caregiving. We have learned so much, and I can't. I want to talk about some other stuff, but caregiving is so important, and it's so important that you don't wait until something happens. If you both feel good right now, put it on paper. We ended up with COVID, 2 weeks ago?
No, it's longer than that.
It has been 3 weeks? 3 weeks, okay. And I'm the one who got it. And my sister said to me, she said, I can't believe as much as you wear your mask everywhere, blah, 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 blah. Yes. But what I did was I went into CVS. How dumb can you be to go in CVS where everybody in there in line picking up their Paxlovid for their COVID, and you're going to stand there with them with no mask on? I was a dummy. But normally when I went in, there's hardly anybody there, but this particular day was later in the day, and I had forgotten about that. No matter, I still should not have gone in the store with my mask off. And I went with my mask off, and by the time I walked in there and I saw how long that line was, I said, whoa. And I should have turned right around, because I knew I didn't have a mask on. I should have gone and got my mask. But I said, well, if I do that, it's going to be even a longer line. I wonder how long the line was when we laid up in here for 10 days. Anyway, so I did, and the hemp, bless his heart, he caught it from me. This is his
Yeah.
second time
You got to
getting
be
it.
careful who you swap spit with.
This is the second time he had it last July, and then he caught it at in the choir, and then but I didn't catch it that time because I had 2 masks on, and we had to quarantine here in the RV. He stayed back in the bedroom and used the bathroom back there, and so I didn't have to worry about that. And it kept all the windows. It was hot, and I kept all the windows up and the sun shining in and the fan blowing, but I made it through that. So, but this time, I thought I had a cold. I really did. I thought I had a cold, and yeah, he caught it. So yeah, but the first time I did the test came back negative, and so I thought I had a cold. But the doctor told me that after I contacted her, because I wasn't getting any better, it was getting worse. And so she said that the reason it tested negative was because I had been vaccinated so many times, and because I didn't have it any worse is because I had been vaccinated so many times. So y'all, if you haven't been vaccinated, get your vaccination, please, so I don't catch nothing from you next time. Get your RSV. If you old like me, you're not supposed to get the RSV. That's some kind of disease that you get from little kids and stuff like that. And get your shingles. We don't want no blisters and stuff. I don't want none of that on me. And get your tetanus and all that stuff like that. So anyway, get all your vaccinations. Get everything. And yeah, I think. Can you have anything else?
No, that's it. Thank
sure?
you.
Okay.
Thank you. I just want to thank you again for your prayers and because we sure did not waste them. Okay, and good to see you, David. Thanks for dropping by when you could.
We got
okay?
David. We got Pat, Keisha, Lori. Oh, how Henny. Oh, cousin Bettina from Colorado. David and oh my, Diane. Diane, she's my cousin. And Mary Jo,
Powers, yeah.
girl, when we going camping, and she said that she has a nursing background. I didn't know that, so the didn't play with me. Yeah, that's right. Mama and Daddy have been gone 3 years, and I still have notebooks of notes. Oh, wow. Oh wow. Yep, she went rounds with hospitals, nursing homes, and doctors. That's right. Go at war. It's a war. It's not time to be nice. It doesn't mean you got to be nasty and cursing nobody. You don't have to do that. But you need to be firm. Let them know you're not going to take their little half answer for the answer. That you're going to look up what they say. That's what you do. Yep. Oh yeah. And 76.8. Yes. And Sunday is Hamp's birthday. Thank you, Lori. It's his 76th birthday. Yes. I married a young guy. Yes. I'll be 77 in January. Yeah, he knew he was getting. Yeah, somebody with experience.
No, I didn't know I was.
You didn't know it? Oh,
no, okay. I didn't know I was gonna be hurt so much.
Okay.
Dwight Brooks.
Dwight's on here. Betty. Wow. Jeanette, Morris, Lauren.
David.
Lauren Glenn's daughter. Yeah, Donna. Okay, and who else got?
Lauren Hodges. Okay.
Yes. And,
thank you all.
Yes. Thank you so much, guys. And we thank you so much. And we're going to do our best to not waste your prayers. And we'll see you next week. We hope this new time helps some of y'all to be able to hang with us. You talk so much, we went past 9 o'clock. Okay, we got to say good night, y'all.
Good night, y'all.
Good night, y'all. We love you.
Thank you, Lord. One more time again.
Yes.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.